Coin Shop podcast. First off, I want to give a special thanks to all of our guests and all of our listeners of the Coin Shop podcast. We love the feedback. Please keep it coming. So today, we're going to get into the most lucrative, and our favorite revenue stream of them all, scrap gold. I'm sitting here today with me, Matthew, my brother Kenny, and our very special longtime employee, Mr. Anthony.
So one of the reasons why we love scrap gold so much is there's really it's not a simple process, right? I mean, it's simple as far as buying and selling, but the things that the jewelry or the items can turn into is almost limitless, right? And that's why it's important for not only us as a business to try to help other businesses kind of go what we've gone through to learn those processes, but also for the customer to make sure they do the proper research so they know what they have. Right.
I think what's so good about us is that we try to maximize our customers, what they bring into us. Right.
Correct.
We always want to educate them the best we can and kind of tell them what they have, because sometimes they don't know, and I think that's for us, being straightforward, being very to the point, and not no ifs whenever they leave. It's they feel good when they're here, and I think that's very important whenever you have people coming in to the shop and just letting them know, hey, this is what you have.
Right. Well, it's our responsibility,
right,
to be able to give a fair assessment, but to also educate them along the way to the items that they do have, because a lot of times it's not theirs. It's something that was passed on or given to them. Right. So to jump right into it, we got to get into how it all begins. Right. So the methods of testing. Right. So what type of tools, what type of testers, and, the actual buying process. So why don't you take us through the buying process?
All right. So usually the way it happens, we have all sorts of different people. You have the people that, inherited these items and they don't know what they have. You have people that just have them in the jewelry box and just, want to get rid of them.
Right.
Or, people that come in and, have appraisals and stuff like that. They know exactly what they have. Right. So obviously, whenever we speak to them, we try to tell them, like, this is the process. So when we sit down, we tell them we have to separate it by purity. Right. So it's 10, 14, 18, look at what they have. If there's anything that they have that I could pay a premium for, then we'll pull that aside and always try to tell them, like, hey, I'm pulling this aside for X amount of reasons,
What kind of tools do you use to?
So, the main one we use is a loop, because you got to make sure you got everything's marked, right?
Yeah.
Then you have like your key testers, you have your XRF machine.
What's a key tester?
It's kind of like a little,
the key machine.
The machine.
Yeah. Okay.
So, So you have the key tester, you have the XRF, and then you have the acid tester, right? So, which is,
the old trusty.
Yeah, old trusty, right?
Yeah. Listen, you're not a coin shop if you don't have an acid test in a stone and you're
in a file.
Yeah, in a file. Yeah, you got to have one of those, and every coin shop has to have one of those, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Right. All right. And then the testing process. So, like for me, and one of the things we've preached over the years is, we want to give the customer the best deal, but we also have to do it in a timely manner, right? So with years of experience, you can learn quickly if something's on or off by feel or by the way it looks, or if there's some plating issues or something like that, right?
Right.
So like my number one tool for me is my gut. Like it kind of lets me know real quick if I'm on or off, right? And then what tool do you use the most, Matt? What is your?
I mean, I really go off feel. When I sit down with the customer and I'm doing a scrap deal, I first got to get everything next to me, make sure I have all the tools I need to do the deal. From there, I start
what
making,
type of tools?
Like we went over, I make sure I have my loop, make sure I have the key tester right there. The scale's on and ready to go, calibrated. And then I'll get into start making piles. I'll make piles of 10, 14, make piles of 18. I'll make piles of gold. It's more questionable things that I'm going to end up, right? explaining after.
Costume stuff.
Yeah,
right.
costume stuff.
And that's a good point. Hey
you know.
guys, a pro tip: leave that stuff for the end. Okay, don't bring up the negative first. Always talk about that stuff at the end.
Yeah,
right.
bring the positive. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm bringing you. The 10 carats going to be X amount.
Right.
14 is X amount. 18 is X amount. And by that time, the customers, wow, that's a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
This stuff's been sitting in my
Yeah.
in my jewelry box for a decade or longer, and they're usually real happy, right? Especially with today and the prices where they're at.
Right.
So, yeah, I think starting with the positive and then getting into maybe something that has GF gold filled, or getting into something that's electroplated or gold plated of some type, then that's a good way to kind of begin that conversation with the customer.
Right.
So from there, if there's any type of vintage, like Anthony said, we always put that, maybe price that individually.
Wait, why don't we? I'm gonna stop here real quick. Why don't we go back over some of those inscriptions? Because those inscriptions are important.
Yeah.
So like you said, the first one you said was GF. So that's gold filled, right?
Correct.
What other ones can we share with other people to look out for?
Yeah. So if it starts out with the E, EP, or some stamping like that, then it's going to be electroplated.
I didn't know that. Actually.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And over the years, really, you start to kind of train your eye on how to really catch those items.
Right.
You can tell by the sharpness, how they're cut. Just by the feeling, right when you get it, you know it's plated.
But to get to the basics of things, so
yeah,
you want to look for specific markings, right?
You want to look for specific markings, and that is for the coin shop, but also, or for the shop, but it could also be for the customer.
Yeah.
Because that's, I think, the most important is for the customer to do their research, just like coins.
No doubt.
Right. So do their research. Make it easier for whoever's going to have to look at whatever you're bringing in. And if you don't know what you're doing, then go to a professional and let them do the work and just,
Another pro tip, and this would be for the consumers, is to sort your product the best way you can prior to entering a coin shop. Because if you come in with a big, we call them rat's nest, but a big tangled up glob of chains and bracelets and necklaces and things of that nature, it's going to take time for someone to sit there and have to, and
yeah.
And guys, time is money, right? I mean, you've heard it 1,000 times, but people are actually charging you mentally for them having to sit there and do that. So just remember that you always want to be as prepared as possible by going in there. But while we start talking about some of these markings to look for the fake stuff, there's also some markings to look for some cool stuff. And that's one thing that gets me kind of pumped up, is when you start looking at some of these and you see like a VCA, right? For instance, right, which would be Van Cleef Arpels, or C, with the right insignia, which would mean like a vintage Cartier piece, or Tiffany and Company, James Avery, just a couple to name a few that bring huge premiums that you would want to separate as a consumer out of that, so that you want to make sure you get paid extra money for that.
Sure.
And coin dealers and coin shops, you guys should be happy to pay over for those goods, because those goods you're going to make a really nice profit on, and you look like a hero, and you're doing the right thing more than anything.
Yeah.
But it gives you, to me, it makes you look like you know what you're doing, right? It gives you validity, okay? And then again, now you've got something that you can market that brings well over melt value. And those, so those little insignias and markings to look for work in two ways, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And I think, just to kind of go back, when you do that, the customer automatically will probably sit back in their chair.
There you go.
And feel 100% comfortable with who they're dealing with, and know exactly.
And why is that? Why is that, Anthony?
Because they start trusting you.
There you go.
Yeah.
You
build that trust. And,
yeah.
And then
you build it based on knowledge.
Right.
And that's why they came to you, right? We used to, I would say, I used to hear sometimes on the counter, well, what are you asking for this? How much? they're coming to you or coin shops across the country to know what you're going to pay. You're the expert. It's your job to put a number on it, not theirs. Now, they might have an expectation, and some of them do. And if you can meet that expectation or beat that expectation, then great.
Right.
But it's not their job to put a price on their goods. They're coming to you to ask you what your opinion of value is and what you'll stroke a check for, right?
Yeah, because
So
they're not in our everyday. They're not on the market. They bought these items retail.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they bought them years ago.
Yeah.
So, and if not, I mean, they could have been passed down as well. So
it's kind of like a treasure hunt.
yeah, it's a treasure hunt. And a lot of customers, it's funny you said that, because a lot of customers enjoy going through their jewelry.
Yeah.
They want to come in first. They typically will ask some questions like the markings to look for, the marking locations. How do I find the markings? And we show them, or we explain it to them on the phone.
Yeah.
And from there on, they're on a treasure hunt. They might get together with their kids. They might get together with their grandkids.
A little Friday night fun, huh?
Yeah. They get the loop. They get on the dining room table, and they go through. Each piece is different. Trademarks different times in their life. So if it's a high school ring or a college ring, or if it's an old coin that was given to from their grandparents, it means something. So it's got some sentimental, and it's kind of fun.
That's a great
to
point.
pass those stories to the next generation.
That's a great point.
So maybe they don't sell it, but they get that knowledge passed down, and they get the stories, and it makes for a pretty fun night. And it's good that we get to hear about those times.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. So that kind of goes into your maximizing your dollar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with scrap gold, a lot of people see it as a one-way transaction. Here I just dump this gold and you throw it on a scale, you pay me per gram, and you get out of there, right? We kind of take a different approach, and we've talked about it for the past 10 minutes about our approach. One of the things also is, now we're talking right now just about loose, but now what if these have stones in them?
Yeah.
And a good way to tell, a lot of people ask questions. It's like, well, how do you know the difference between glass and natural stones? And a lot of times you can tell by the carat weight or the carat number that it was set in. So if a lot of stones that are set in 10 karat, you pretty much know are either going to be costume, glass, or on the lower end spectrum of a semi-precious stone.
Correct.
If it's set in 14 karat, it's something that you need to look at, probably under loop, under magnification. Maybe what is that deal? The refractometer that you use
for the
Yeah.
gemstones. Yeah.
And I'll ask you a little bit about that. But then 18 karat, when you start seeing stones in 18 karat, then you know that a jeweler is not going to waste their time setting a cheap stone in 18 karat setting.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Right? We found some really cool stuff in 18 karat, right?
Yeah.
And it's a treasure hunt for us.
Yeah.
And we think it's good if you're going to add it as a revenue stream for smaller businesses that are looking for revenue streams to add. That's, one that I would do immediately. Now, one of the things you're going to have to do is that it's aggressive, and it's an aggressive market. You got to pay fair.
Yeah.
And you got to know what you're doing.
Sure.
Because, some of those clasp and markings, Matthew, like you were saying earlier, and you brought up a good point. And once you touch on that again about, the 10 karat being clasp being.
Yeah. A lot of times you'll see 10 karat, 14 karat chains. In doing that, you'll see 14 karat clasp on 10 karat chains. Now, what that is they were added at a certain time. Either they wanted to change out the clasp, or because they didn't like the way it was functioning, or they just wanted to fix a broken chain. So it's always good to take the time, not just gold test the clasp, but also test the chain. And if you're going to resell it, you obviously don't want to scratch the chain, or you don't want to, mess the chain up for resale. So you have to do it in certain areas where it makes sense. And with the customer's approval, you can test that piece, whether it's XRF keys tester, something that's not going to hurt the chain. If you really want to take it a step further and it's an expensive piece, then yeah, scratch test, file it a little bit, drop a little acid on a part of it. If it's gold, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt the piece.
Yeah.
If it's not gold, then that's when the customer's going to have that. They're going to take it back with them, and they'll know that it's not gold. So,
let's be clear. So when a customer comes in and brings you a chain, I want you to literally go through a 4 or 5 step process. Okay. Because I kind of felt like we kind of skipped over some of that easy stuff. So, a 14 karat comes in, you loop it with magnification.
Mm-hmm.
It looks and feels 14 karat to you. You scratch it on the stone just because you drop 14 karat acid on there. The acid holds, right? So there's no movement of metal from the stone because the acid was not penetrating that gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it does penetrate it a little bit. The next move would be to put it on the XRF machine, right? And the XRF machine is our spectrometer, which basically X-rays metals. We drop it on our XRF, hit the button, and it gives you the
reading of it.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that we went over that because, we kind of went to,
fast forward a little bit. Right?
Well, when we talk about vintage jewelry, I get excited because it's fun, man. Vintage jewelry. I mean, we bought that Cartier, that 2 karat, 2.73 carat, vintage Cartier ruby stone, and I literally thought about it for a week. Just such a beautiful piece. And when you build a good reputation for paying over for items like that, people tell their friends, right? Especially that let me see how I'm not going to get in trouble like that. How would you say that group or
that clientele that buys vintage and trades into different pieces, they'll say, hey, I'll take this to US Coins. I'll give them a try. I know they're going to pay over melt for a piece like this. I know they're going to take it seriously and give me a real evaluation of what I have. And so I think, you're 100% correct. People see that and you build off of it, but they also bring in those pieces.
Right.
And that's, from there on, it just gets more and more fun.
Right.
You get to see everything.
So that's a perfect point. How do you handle? So let's say, for instance, someone brings in 10 rings and some of them have, diamonds and semi-precious and glass. How do you handle those stones, and how do you pay for them? How do you evaluate them? Once you give us a quick, a couple minutes on that.
Yeah. So obviously we have to evaluate them. Also depends on, the size of the stones and if there are real diamonds or gemstones or whatnot. But if a lot of times if a customer has something, and it's a good size, we always want to take it out of the setting because, sometimes settings do mask a color on the diamond, or you can't see the true clarity of the gemstone, right?
So a 1 karat diamond that's mounted, we generally pull right to be able to put into
the sarin or like a color tray, or again, the main purpose of it all is to maximize, one, the customer, but also what we can resell it for, right? But so obviously we try to take them out. If it's something simple we could take out, then we take them out of the settings and and see what the clarity, see what the color is on either the gemstone or the diamond, because sometimes when they're in the settings, you don't know if they're chipped. Or
Prong could have a really good jeweler.
Jewelers are sneaky, man. You gotta watch out. They'll hide a chip in a heartbeat.
Or something that might be filled, right? They might hide.
So agreed. Or drill.
They'll
hide the drill insert.
There's a lot of different variables that come into it. So you always want to take it out of the setting just to to protect yourself.
So let me ask you this: because this is not really like a rule that we have established, what size what's your comfort level? Anything under what carat do you pull out?
So usually, depending on the setting, but usually it's like a half carat, right?
Okay.
Half carat or larger, you want to take out because that's usually where you start paying a premium for them.
Okay.
Anything smaller, obviously, if they're like a 30 pointer, 40 pointer, and they're really, really nice, and then you could pay a little bit more, right?
Right,
But
right.
the smaller stuff like the melee stuff,
Yeah.
sometimes it just costs you a lot more to take them out than what you could get for it.
It's hard to explain that to people. It's
Yeah,
hard.
'cause, I mean, they pay a lot of money for
I
it, but
know.
it's just the labor to set each small stone. That's
it's-
what it's crazy.
Well, I think, we got a quote the other day. Somebody wanted a pave something, and it was like 20 something dollars to set one, 0.01 millimeter stone. Like they don't, like the labor is more than the diamond itself, right? To actually get it in. So, people have these, small diamond, bands, and they're like, well, are you going to pay for the diamonds? It's like, ma'am, I would love to pay you for these diamonds, but it's almost going to cost me more money to take them out than it's worth. So a lot of times we leave that decision up to that customer, because we don't at any time want them to feel like,
Right. And you obviously have to read the situation too. So if it's something like, I know there's a couple of times I've said, like, look, maybe repurpose diamonds,
right.
take it to a jeweler, take them out, sell me the setting.
Well, we do that now. We
Yeah.
custom do.
Right.
Yeah.
But sometimes they just, obviously they don't want to sell a
You don't
group
wanna-
of, group
yeah.
of diamonds for,
And I
you
don't
don't wanna-
blame them.
Yeah.
You don't
Half
want
the
to break
time,
it
I
to
don't
them
blame
that
them.
they have a cluster ring and 10 out of 12
yeah.
stones are chipped, or and it looks like a lot,
Or
but
very strong blue
Yeah.
fluorescence.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of variables. So just being able to just give them a different I guess ideas of what to do with it.
That's
hey,
a good point.
Yeah,
I
you
think
know.
that's why we started doing custom jewelry for that purpose about 6 or 7 years ago. Is like, listen, we don't want to buy this if this is not something that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal to us. We want you to be happy. That number one, you're our customer. You trusted us. We want to make you happy. Not every deal is going to be, easy peasy. You're not
No.
going to drop it on the scale and cut them a check and walk out the door. It happens 95% of the time, but sometimes, we have to be creative, right?
Mhm.
And we have to listen to our customers, right? That's how we've gotten to be where we are today, as far as in the jewelry business, is we've listened to our customers, right?
Mhm.
Because they've told us, hey, I'm not going to take $20 for this amethyst. I'm like, but ma'am, I could buy it for 10, but
Right.
they
Yeah.
don't know that, and they don't really want to hear your story. They're not interested.
Yeah.
So we say, why don't we make you an amethyst pendant? It'll cost you a couple $100. You buy the chain, and now you can repurpose it. And they're like, I love that idea. Let's do it. And we've made a lot of customers happy doing that.
Yeah.
So that's been a cool thing. And
Yeah.
actually, Anthony started that.
yeah, you did.
We got to give a little background about Anthony, because Anthony's been with us for 12 years now.
Yeah.
Right. He has been an absolute pleasure to work with, an absolute all-star. He's there when you need him. He's just about as solid as employee as you can get. So I guess I hate to break the middle of the flow here, but I got to give a shout out to my boy, just because you're solid, man.
Puts in the work.
Appreciate it.
You put in the
Yeah.
work,
Been here for a full decade.
yeah.
I mean,
and
years.
some.
Yep.
You've
Don't take much time off. Just you
no
get there, you do what you got to do, and take care of the customers, take care of the company, and do
Yeah.
you do it right. So that's good.
He
It's
does it
good,
right. He's a good teacher. Do I jump on his butt sometimes? Yeah, sure. That's just life.
Yeah.
But he can take it, and a lot of times he has a pretty good excuse for it. And we've learned a lot from each other, right? I think we've grown up, like we've grown into manhood together in a way, right?
Right.
I think we all have.
Yeah.
We've all kind of, so sorry to do that in the middle of the podcast, but I felt compelled that I needed to at least, hey, we do appreciate and love you, man. We're glad you're here.
No, I love you guys too. I mean, obviously it's fun, when you enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. So it's fun, and I love being here. So
Yeah. When people say it's hard to find good help, yeah, it is. But
Yeah.
what you have to do to find good help is, once you get good help, you do everything in your power to keep good help. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't let good help go. Okay. So
And
anyway.
part of that is giving them the tools and learning with them or learning, right?
Well, I mean, he got his GIA. You
Yep.
know, anything that he's done that he's asked to do in advance. And remember, this is something he's asked us. I
Yeah.
want to do this, done. I want to do this. I want to advance this way.
Mhm.
Anything that you've ever asked for, you know, we've done, and you've been very proactive. And we're going to get back to the podcast, but I
Yeah.
did just want to, I just felt compelled to at least give that little piece of appreciation to you,
No, I
because
really appreciate
I
it.
know I do tell you all the time. So it's not like this is the first time you've heard it.
No.
We're not crying. I'm not crying.
No, for
Uh,
sure.
I'm not crying.
You're not crying.
I'm not crying.
He's definitely not crying.
I'm definitely not.
So that's good. But you know, for the consumer, knowing what you have in 99% of the case is always going to be your best ally,
Mhm.
right? Especially when it comes to jewelry, because I've seen people come in who've been completely blown away by some prices we've offered on emeralds, because emeralds are such a funny, you know, they're such a funny stone, because, you know, rubies are actually the tough. Well, I say ruby, sapphire, and emeralds are all,
Yeah.
they're all
Yeah.
unique, right?
Yep.
You know, origin, you know, treatments, you know, size, combination, all these different things, things we can get into in a deeper, you know, into another podcast. But, you know, the 3 things I would say for the small coin shops to look out for are ruby, emerald, sapphire. Those are the big 3.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that if they reach the 2 to 3 carat size or plus, you know, you need to make a call.
Yeah, there's
and
a premium for that.
yeah, and sometimes it's a big one.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing I would say, never make that phone call in front of the customer, because immediately the customer knows you're not the guy.
Yeah.
If you're making a phone call in front of the customer to ask somebody else's opinion, you've just become a middleman, and they've just lost 10 to 15%. Right. So you've got to do your homework on what you've got. And that's one thing early in the game when I would get frustrated when people are like, well, here, let me call so-and-so. No,
Yeah.
no, you don't call so-and-so. You put a number on it, and then you learn from that number, you know, because if you're calling in front of a customer to get someone else's price,
You're setting a horrible example
well, not only that,
for your company, right?
but now you're a middleman.
Yeah.
You're not taking a shot, you're making a flip, and that's not,
Yeah.
you know, I'm looking for items to stock in my store to resell to customers. You know, that's the whole idea. The farm to table aspect has gotten us where we are today, is buying cool pieces and selling cool pieces and trading them back and forth. Right. So, that evaluating stones thing it's a podcast in itself, but
For sure.
you've got to pay for Melly.
Mhm.
You know, so go ahead, tell me a little bit how do you pay for the Melly? So let's just talk about the you can't really pay for anything less than 10 points, but for the 10-point stuff and over, what do you pay?
Usually you could pay like $1 a point. You
Okay.
know, that's a pretty fair and safe price to pay $1 a point. And then obviously when you see, if you get to a point where you have to pay a little premium because color, you know, is super white and the clarity is super clean, you know, and it then you have to pay a premium. Then that's kind of where the knowledge comes in. It's like, what do they trade for? Or
Yeah.
what can I pay?
What's the per carat market?
Yeah.
Right.
So it goes deeper than that. And but yeah, usually anything over 10 pointers, you know, you're safe at $1 a point, you know,
Right.
because then at that, you know, if it's drilled or it's, you know, chipped or something, then it doesn't really hurt you of what you could get in the secondary market.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, you could throw it in a bag and sell it per carat and
Exactly.
be done with it.
yeah.
Which I guess brings us to the liquidity stage.
Yeah. Cash
Right.
flow.
Yeah. You know, scrap is fun. It is lucrative. If you're paying a fair price, then that means you're probably spending a lot of money,
Mhm.
which means you have to turn it around quickly. If you're not hedging that product, then, you know, you're naked. So, you know, picking a refiner and, you know, we could have a whole 2 days podcast about refining. Refining is just, you know,
It's tough.
it's tough out there trying to find the right partner to refine with, because,
Sure.
you know, things seem to be going fine with one, and then all of a sudden, you know, the numbers are not coming back accurate, and, you know, things kind of feel off a little bit. And again, it's that gut feeling you get, like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Something's not right.
Why am I getting paid 54%?
Yeah.
On 14 karat.
Right.
Why am I? Yeah.
Why is my 750 coming back 69%? What
Yeah.
in the world? Either we're making a mistake up front, which I just can't believe.
Mhm.
My guys are been with us for 5+ years and they know what to look for. But what's going on there, right? And picking that refinery is tough. So I say you do it carefully. And I say, we prepare goods, cut your clasp off, make sure you separate it just like you ask the customer. Your 14s with your 14, your 10 is with your 10, 18, et cetera, et cetera. That way you see which one is off, or hopefully they're all on. But if it's off, then you need to go back to an invoice and see if you can find a repeat customer that's selling you bad gold. Which brings us to another one, and that's scams.
Yes.
Right. So one of the reasons why people don't get into scrap gold is because the likelihood of getting scammed. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, so Anthony is my favorite hound dog. He just knows before the guy even, I don't know how, but
it's that gut.
Tell us some scams. Tell us tell our viewers or listeners what to kind of look for. And take a couple minutes.
Yeah. So I think the most common one that we see a lot is people coming in that got approached, at a gas station or buying groceries, and then someone is like, hey, I need money to pay for something, right? And then they're like, well, no. But it's like, look, if you give me some money, I'll give you this ring or this chain or this bracelet.
It's probably worth more.
Yeah,
right?
It's probably, obviously they're good with the words.
Try to catch you off guard.
Yeah, and obviously, you're getting something for what you're gonna get them, so you're like, okay, fine, right?
Maybe they're going for the elderly or someone.
Yeah, obviously it's the older people. Kind of have a little. They're a little kind-hearted. Kind-hearted, right?
Yeah.
So they're really good at what
sad story and
they say the sad story. They're really good at
the guy that pulls up next to you that within the Snap-on Tools truck that says, "I got Snap-on Tools for 50% off," right? But they're not really Snap-on. Yeah. You just got snapped off.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of times it's just like the people come in like, hey, someone approached me and they gave me this. I'm just trying to get my money back. I gave them $100.
Yep.
And then they're like, all right, well, unfortunately, it's plated. It's
gold
copper.
plated.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you cut into it. We obviously we have to show the customer, look, this is what it's reading on the XRF. If I clip it, this is what you're gonna show.
Drop the acid.
You drop the acid on there.
Starts smoking or burning.
And that's kind of one of the
sets off the fire alarm.
Yeah, it definitely turns green, and it's just like, oh no,
bubbly. All
the fumes that you get.
And listen, and going back to the methods of testing, so the stone, you can buy a stone kit, I believe. I think they're on Amazon.
Yeah, they're on Amazon. They're
like so if you scratch 14 and it holds for 14, that's good. If you scratch and you drop 14 on there and it bubbles away, it's not 14.
Yeah, it's not.
Then you would go down to 10. If it doesn't hold 10, then you need to hand it back to that customer and say, thank you very much, but it's not for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so on and so forth. Anytime you see a disappear, a dissolvement, green or bubbling on the stone, it's time to hand that back to the customer and say, thank you very much for bringing it to us, but it's not something that we buy. We appreciate it. Have a good day.
Yeah.
I love that answer too.
Yeah.
It's always the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, see, it's just
the only way to go about it.
And obviously we do it in front of the customer. So they're seeing it while we do it. So it's not like we're trying to go somewhere in the back and do it,
no
right?
way.
So no, they're seeing it while we're doing it. It's like, all right, well, this is not good.
No way.
Let me try something else, right?
Yeah.
Like a different spot, and and obviously it's the same, but it gives them that benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, this is you're telling me the truth.
Now you've just told me like that's like side hustle, like New Orleans side hustle. Tell me a scam. Tell me like let's talk about some of the chains that are either heavily plated. How do we catch them?
Yeah.
Let's talk about like Matthew had a good one the other the old
where
switcheroo.
The whole switcheroo. Where they come in and like, hey, how much will you pay me for this chain? We test it, it's all good. Give them a price, and they're walking away. They're like, wait, why are you walking away? Let's talk about this. All right, well, let's negotiate on the price. By that time, you're so focused on making sure the customer's not leaving.
Yep.
They have the different chain that's gold filled in their other pocket that they are like, okay, I'll sell it, and then they switch it on you.
Yep.
So that's one of the good.
It's probably the will you pay cash?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll pay cash. Then they bring it back and give you the exact, wait, this is not the chain I just priced.
No,
this is gold plated.
I promise you that's happened to us multiple times because we're so busy.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
we're a perfect target for that because we're
Yeah.
so busy. You know, a guy like Will or, you know, a Nick or somebody or myself that's like, you know, crazy busy and involved with a bunch of different things. And the guy's like, hey, I brought that chain back. You're like, hey,
Yep.
write that chain up.
Yep.
You don't even look at it.
No.
You know,
And that's how they
'cause
get
he-
you too.
Because he
It's
didn't
just-
even get to the door.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're thinking it's the chain. He reaches in his other pocket.
Yeah.
It's the fake gold chain or bracelet.
Right.
And you buy it, do it quick, take care of the next person in line. And then you sometimes you catch it right away when it gets to the process of breaking it down. And sometimes, like you said, you see it on the on your assay from your refiner and you see your percentages down.
Right.
And you know you removed all the gemstones. You know you cut all the clasp. And
When that
Faced
happens,
with that.
I start to look for repetitive names in the system under the scrap gold category.
Yeah.
And start to try to isolate names from that. So people we can be a little bit weary of or keep an eye on in the future. Right.
Mhm.
Because if they feel like they've got you pegged,
Yeah.
they're going to continue
They're
to
gonna
peg
continue.
you until you catch them.
Right.
Right. They're just going to continue. And, you know, we've been through that, you know, and that's just part of running a business. You know,
Yeah.
you're going to run your head into the wall. It's just how many times are you going to allow it to happen before
Yeah.
you put an end to it and actually wisen up to what's going on around you.
Right.
Right.
But ultimately, it's the knowledge that you gain from it too. It's just like you see it again, you're like, all right, I remember this, you know, and that's how you obviously remember those things.
Right.
Yeah.
So with scrap, you know, we absolutely excuse me, we absolutely love you know, bringing everybody in, getting a lot of customers in with scrap. The vintage part of it is amazing.
I'd like to add to the cash flow and liquidity. You know, one thing I was thinking is that a lot of these different states where they're buying their scrap gold, they have to hold it for a certain period of time.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
7
Holding
days,
periods
1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think City of Houston's like 10 days or 2 weeks or
10
something.
days.
Right.
Yeah. And another thing is just being super descriptive. Our guys super descriptive on what they're buying. So if something does happen in the neighborhood where you're buying stolen property, then you have something that you can help that customer out with. You know, they send an officer, they ask if you've purchased a certain couple items, and you say, yes, actually, I think we did buy something similar to that last week.
So like being
I'll just-
super
Well, here.
super descriptive about
So you help your customer find their stolen goods, and then you also create a really good relationship with your local police. That can help you within the future of buying, but also they have different groups in the area that you can actually sit down with, go over all the new scams, what to look for, what to be on the watch out for. It definitely comes hand in hand with watches. We see the watches and coins. You see the PCGS numbers and NGC slab numbers.
those are all serial numbered, whereas
Yeah.
the scrap gold's definitely not.
Scrap gold's not, but sometimes it's by piece can be found. So just something to add.
Is that something you guys do?
No, so where we're at, we don't have to do it, but City of Houston,
Everyone else does.
yeah, City of Houston does. So you have to, each piece has to be like descriptive, like
That would make me a little wary of what you were actually getting paid.
Yeah.
Because, you know, whether or not that company is hedging that material, you know, if they know they have to keep it for a certain period of time and you're in a market that's, you know, very volatile as far as, you know, gold's concerned,
Sure.
you would hope that they're locking that product in and that they're giving you a price based on what market is, not what they think the market's going to be in the 10 days or 14 days that it's up for
on
to
hold.
release. Yeah. That's interesting. You know, I didn't think about that.
to the time too, like the time for you to just like sit there and do each piece. You know?
That
So,
would be,
yeah,
that's,
a size 7 ring with 18 stones.
that
You
would
know,
be
it's
right.
yeah. So
You'd
there's a
have
lot
to,
of-
you'd have to think the customer is paying for that.
Sure.
Honestly.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to think the customer's paying for that.
That's the only way you could sit there and do the business with them.
Yeah.
Give them liquidity.
Right.
So that's
yeah. Our business model is a little different than that.
Yeah.
You know, just I guess maybe based on where we are. You know, we do. You know, when we pull out specific items that we do think that we're going to sell to get more money. We're very explanatory upfront about it, and we'll buy it in as a separate deal so that, say, for instance, someone calls and say, hey, I'm missing a Van Cleef and Arpels necklace, and say, oh, yeah, we bought it. Because we pulled it out of scrap, and we obviously we paid the customer a premium for it.
Sure.
And it's easy for them to find.
Yeah.
And then when the our local PD calls and says, hey, we're missing this, we've been down that road.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's a good point. You know, I didn't really think of that. Yeah. So be very descriptive and be very descriptive. And when you have that holding period, you know, I guess I would encourage smaller coin shops to hedge that gold so that you can still be as fair as possible. And to protect yourself from, you know, you don't want to free roll.
No.
And, you know, you don't want to free roll.
It's not the Wild West.
No. You don't want to, there's no sense in doing that.
Yeah.
You know, even though I catch ourselves doing that sometimes, we need to be a little bit better about that.
Well, it's good we have inventory to tell us when that bin's filling up and good time to start selling. Of course, you want to sell it on a up day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always happen that way. So just staying consistent and keeping up with our inventory. So
well, it's also, you know, there's a couple of different philosophies. If you're getting into, you know, we advertise for prepared goods. So like prepared goods, we advertise 90%. So that's prepared, like set out, easy peasy, ready to go. We drop it on the scale, you know, a customer we've done business with before, etc. Everything checks out. You know, it's a quick and very easy, seamless transaction. We advertise 90%. And that's on refined goods. Now, refined goods to me means what the actual payout is. So we take an average of what we actually get paid out on average, right? Yeah. Because that's a big difference. And a lot of people don't realize that the difference between what it's stamped for and what it actually refines for, you know, there's a 2 to 3% difference a lot of times in those numbers. And you've got to be aware of that.
Yeah.
And people looking to add that revenue stream need to be aware that just because you're buying 750 doesn't mean you're always going to get paid 75% of melt. Right?
Right.
A lot of times our average is what, 72 and a half?
Yeah, 72 and a half.
Yeah.
So,
decent.
Yeah. So it's got to be based on the average of what.
That's how we do
what carat and what carat it is, and then also what you actually get from the refiner.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're not going to make your percentage that.
No. And it's our duty to make sure that we find the right refining company to give us adequate numbers so that we can be as fair as possible to our customers.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to get into, you know, naming any, so we'll stay away from doing any of that stuff. Yeah. We've got a couple questions here, as we talked about before, that we would take live. Why don't we go ahead with the first one? Remember, I have here headphones on, so I can't hear too well.
What has USCJ done now that HPM has been closed? How do you guys do your scrap? Followed by, do you send it out? Do you sell it locally to another refiner?
Okay, that's a great question. So HPM, Houston Precious Metals, was a company that was Houston staple for scrap for a long time. We actually didn't do business with them, to be honest. So we never really, I didn't do business with Jack. We like Jack. We had a mutual respect for Jack. We just didn't do our business with scrap with him, our scrap business with him. We have a local refinery that we use that we work very well with, that knows that we know exactly what we're doing, and we have a very good trust relationship with them. So we do keep it local in Houston. We do work with one person, and it's a pretty close relationship that Anthony actually deals with himself. And Anthony knows, and we trust Anthony to know when something's off. And they know not to mess with our bulldog.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's always gonna be questions.
Yeah, we ask a lot of questions. And listen, and honestly, ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
You know, in the scrap business, when you're an actual, you know what? Matter of fact, it replies to this is for the shop owner and for the consumer. Ask a lot of questions. There's nothing wrong with asking a lot of questions. You know, you never. We want to make sure that you get all the information you need, and you're never going to learn it if you don't ask it. So go ahead.
Sure.
Well, thank you, Josh, for the question.
Yep.
All right. So before we leave, we want to talk about our newest dork of the week. And that would be an eBay customer, believe it or not. And I shouldn't say that in a negative way because we love eBay and we get a lot of good customers from eBay.
Yep.
But man, do you have to deal with some numerous dorks on eBay. And we're going over this one from.
Yes, it's the first.
Okay, so the first question that he asked us via the eBay message portal was, "What you sold me is fraud, and I will report you to the Secret Service for selling fraudulent currency online. I expect a full refund before the night is over, and I will be calling eBay to report you for selling fraudulent coins." There were no 1964 dollars ever struck on any U.S. mint by any U.S. mint is what he meant to say. So I want you to refund my money before I make a phone call that will land your butt in federal prison for many years. Now, I didn't get any sleep that night at all. It was
horrible.
It was horrible.
It's cold.
But I'm getting over it. So the reply message back was, "Sir, it is exactly as described, but please feel free to research the Dan Carr Moonlight and the history behind it. There's the third part to this. Good morning. I'm writing to ask if you would please send me back the referral to adjust my feedback I left on your 1964 D Dan Carr Moonlight Midnight coin. We all make mistakes, and I feel like I have unjustly left incorrect information on your coin. Without having the knowledge enough in this coin or the Morgan dollar coins, I quite possibly was wrong. However, I did not know and should not have left any negative feedback. So I would like to remove my feedback totally and not leave any comments on this coin or situation if still possible. Signed, X. Please feel free to contact me if we need to resolve or on this feedback issue." So what started out to be something negative turned out to somehow be positive, as we explained. And, yeah, that happens, right? I mean, people make mistakes. Boy, I tell you what, though, it's crazy how guys go 0 to 60. I mean, you're
so
like
fast.
Well, like you're in federal prison, like in 2 seconds, like I'm in handcuffs. Like
Next minute, he wants to give you a hug.
Golly, and yeah. Now the guy's like, "Hey, listen, can we have dinner?" Like, "Oh, slow down real quick in 1 second." So, guys, that concludes episode number 4. We want to thank you very much for tuning in and listening to us ramble about revenue stream number 4, which was scrap gold. We want to thank Anthony again, not only for your long service history with us and, just being an awesome dude, but also being on the podcast with us and sharing your experience over the counter and dealing with our customers on a daily basis. So we definitely appreciate you on that. Maddie, you got anything?
I think that's it.